Esta conferencia comenzará a grabarse.
Welcome everybody. As I said, we will start now. Today we are focused on the ecosystem related to creativity. Okay, you know that we are analyzing 14 different ecosystems. Okay, and sorry, I don't know if I share the right screen. Just one moment. I think no. Yes. Now. Okay. No. Okay. So today we have the participation from clusters from two different countries, Lithuania and Bulgaria. Okay. Welcome, first of all, Romanas Matulis and Liana. Sorry, because the surname is not so easy.
Yeah, it's actually it's very Spanish name, Liana.
Okay, Liana. Okay.
Liana Roquita Johnson. Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. And you will start immediately. You will have 10 minutes each, okay? So it's do you want to take the control, Liana?
Yeah, I can start with the presentation of our cluster. What we do.
We would like to share the slides.
Yes, I am giving you now the control. Okay. I have given it to Liana, but I don't know if you prefer to do that, Romanas.
No, yes. No, it's okay. Romanas can put the slides on the. We do it in a very kind of simple way. So we interrupt each other because I got to know only yesterday evening that I'm going to speak today. So and I'm so sorry because I'm using my laptop and the camera is down. So I should look into the hall, but I'm not used to do this, by using my iPad. So if I look like I'm looking up to the sky, so it's I'm not praying. So I'm just talking. So I'm apologizing now before I start. So labas rytas is in Lithuanian. Good morning to everyone. So thank you so much for inviting us to talk about our cluster. And I will say a few words to present our cluster first, then maybe make some notes about the disruptions caused by COVID-19, and then we talk about main challenges that we meet at our cluster. So,
Liana, just one moment. Romanas, you are not sharing the screen until now. I don't know if you know.
Yes, I'm just looking for the option where to find this sharing option.
Okay, you don't see your screen, but usually it's between the micro icon and the video icon. Okay, in the middle, you should have the option to share your screen.
Okay, so I will check where is it. Here. Yes. Okay, just a moment. Just a moment.
Now we are seeing your screen.
Yes.
Perfect. Diana, go on, please. Thank you. Sorry for the interruption.
Okay. So let's start. So yes, a few words, as I said, about our cluster. And I would like to start that our Vilnius Film Cluster is an alliance of leading film, animation, TV production services and distribution companies established in 2007 by the group of companies, local Vilnius companies within the audiovisual sector. So why the name is Vilnius? It's because it started in Vilnius, but today the film cluster unites 36 companies from the audiovisual sector. And it means that in our cluster, there are companies that dealing not only with filmmaking, but also with distribution, with rental services, effects, and event arrangements and things like that. So we opened up the doors to other audiovisual sectors and invited actively new members to our cluster. And today it's grown up to 36 companies, and it's still growing up. And the cluster develops in a very high speed. So we're inviting also gaming industry, AR, VR, MR companies, animation, advertising companies, and such companies like entertainment services, and trying to connect to be able to provide more complex services to our clients. And why is film cluster still in our name of the cluster? Because as I mentioned, that the group of initiators, they worked simply only with the film production services. But nowadays we're thinking to change the name into like Lithuanian cross-media or media cluster. So it will be the next step. So I wanted you to know that this kind of more broad unit than it says in the name. So the 36 companies, the annual turnover is around 20 million, with export with 8 million euros. It looks like a small amount, but Lithuania is a small country. And well, comparing to Lithuanian Film Center, which is a state support for filmmaking, national filmmaking, which is around 4 million euros, 4-5 million today. So it's quite much. I mean, having in mind that our cluster unites only the part of the film industry in Lithuania. So different, well, let's say diverse cluster members services allow us to offer our clients a full range, very high quality of world-class services for the whole process of let's say production. Even post-production we can provide services with, and that's all about if you want to be competitive in the global market, if you want to reach such clients like HBO, Netflix, or BBC, but we actually succeeded to reach them. So you have to provide a very high level of services and to be flexible. And also to create competitive environment. That what I can immediately say about our advantages when selling services is the incentives environment, that we have 30% of tax incentives. Then we have a very experienced and very professional crew. And as I many times talk to the big clients like HBO, BBC, or Netflix, they all of them, they pointed out that our crews are multilingual and very easy to communicate with the rest of the crew, and it makes the work very efficient. So. And also, I would say that we are very open-minded, innovative, and very creative. And when it comes to solve some complicated problems or provide with some new solutions, so Lithuanian crews, they are used to flexibility and very creative, innovative thinking while providing services. So also I would say our industry is very responsible and reliable, and that makes big clients to come back to Lithuania. and shoot their big productions here locally. Everyone probably heard about Chernobyl by HBO. I mean, that was the best TV series of the year. And 99% of all scenes are shot in Lithuania and used, HBO used Lithuanian services, and that was world media said very openly that Lithuania is a great country to do these shootings. So, and also we had successful stories like BBC's Peace and War and Tokyo Trial that also gains international awards, and the Catherine the Great. I mean, the many achievements, and that shows that our industry is really growing and meeting the standards that are on the world market on a certain level. So, in Lithuania, actually, did learn how to deal with the complicated and huge productions. About services, I can just say that the range is from film production to different effects and sound systems and post-production, festivals, distribution, movie exhibitions, and things like that. And going forward to, what is our also strength, that people that work together is not only uniting their forces to get the big client to make good business, but also they are similar-minded people, and they spend actually their leisure time together, which makes also sense while they're keeping so long time, 13 years since the cluster was established. I mean, they keep together, and they still create huge productions that go on the international market. So the many points I can mention, but I'm trying to save the time for bigger issues, like you want to know about our companies in the cluster, how they are doing, how they're dealing with disruptions caused by COVID-19, and I try to go into this subject as this is the topic of the day, let's say. So, and as filming teams are international, all foreign projects have come to, along with the travel ban. So of course, the government supposed to take measures to restrict some events and some gatherings, and it affected strongly on our industries. As you understand, that filmmaking is based on team working, and also I would like to emphasize that all our projects are mostly international projects, co-productions. So, but restricted events and gatherings in the country also stopped smaller scale local film productions. So I would say 79% or 80% of the industry was forced to suspend all operations capacity, and then also many of them, they declared downtime, or even they've been forced to fire part of their employees. Of course, there were governmental means that supported somehow to keep employees during this downtime, but it is not enough. And all, let's say, support means that have been designed by our government to support the industries actually were designed more for traditional industries. And we couldn't use many means to help our own industry. Therefore, the film cluster, we initiated a package of different measures that we presented actually for our Ministry of Economics and Innovation and also Minister of Culture, as the cultural and creative industries are, let's say, supported and coordinated by two ministries. And now this package actually is on the table of the ministry. So we hope that everything will go well, and this means will be implemented and can help our industry to survive. As you see on the slide, that our industry suffered 4 million direct losses and about 17 million lost in a kind of revenue. And maybe the disruptions are much bigger. So we are kind of making in our research to know exact numbers, but more or less it affected, I would say, about 90% of all our film industry, all these restrictions and quarantine time. So for 3 months, the film industry, I would say, stopped working. There were some good exceptions, of course, some positive things that happened to some of our companies. More distribution companies. I would mention that one of the largest film festivals, for instance, they changed their mind just a week before the quarantine. Actually, they supposed to open their festival, international festival. Everything was fixed, but they changed their mind and they went on to platform. It was there were two ways to choose: either to shut down the festival and just cancel everything, or to go on and find a different business model. And they found it. So they placed all the content on 5 different digital platforms, and they actually they had a full-scale festival online. And what happened? I mean, the people, their audience, they wanted to support this festival. They saw the catastrophe coming, and they gladly paid for each screening €6. And normally in Lithuanian cinemas, we pay €8 for a film screening. And now they could pay €6 and watch the whole family in front of the screen. So what made also that the number of films watched by one family increased, actually. So if they usually go to the festival and then pay for 5 screenings, so they bought packages like 10 or 15 films, and they've been watching because they were sitting at home during the quarantine. So the effect was really great, and they survived. And the other thing, that they've been so innovative that after this festival, they went out to different unusual spaces and started to screen their own films, as they are also distributors, not only film festival arrangers. So they found really exclusive places like Aero Films. Probably you know that the whole media was covering this news as a very innovative way of providing services, film services. The festival, they found, and they made a contract with the actually Vilnius airport in the restricted area. They built up the largest screen ever and invited people in the cars to watch films in a very high quality. And it was so unique experience, the big screen among the big planes, I mean, standing there, and this completely restricted area, and nobody can enter ever. And suddenly people have been sitting in the car, and the sound was provided to each car through the radio waves. So, and it was amazing experience. It was sold out, completely sold out. So they kind of changed their mindset and created new models. That makes that in the crisis, some companies, they become very creative and very innovative. There is another distribution company that also did like a drive-in cinema, but this is not a very new thing because it was like in the 50s, 60s, started in United States. But I just wanted to point it out. I mean, although the largest part of our industry suffered, some of them, they took advantages and find their own ways. And I would probably mention also that two clusters, there is another smaller media cluster in Lithuania. During this time, we're preparing actually a very huge project, so-called Digital Innovation Center. So according to the EU program, Digital Innovation Hub, it's not really designed for such industry like creative industry, but they risked their money, and the 9 companies decided to invest a lot of money to develop their let's say video and filmmaking services. And when COVID-19 came, so the whole project stopped, suspended, and because uncertainty, what's going to happen to economy, stopped our companies to be more brave and provocative when it comes to invest money in such a huge scale project. But I would give a word also to Romanas, the general director for our cluster, just to continue what I've been talking about, and maybe I forgot something. So Romanas, just tell something. I don't want to take all time, otherwise I can speak 1 hour. So
5 minutes.
Yeah.
5 minutes, Romana. Thank you very much, Liana. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, thank you for Liana and for such broad actually explanation of what we're doing, and there is not so much left to say actually. Of course, I just try to show you the photos of this drive-in cinema from the Europe, from the international airport of Vilnius, and it was actually very well broadcasted and spread it all over the globe, and actually the know-how how they did it was such a unique that all the festivals and other distributors from a lot of countries called this Vilnius Film Festival organizers and asked them to share their know-how, to share the actually the steps how to make it happen. So what is actually left? It may be the challenges and the solutions. What we need to grow, and I think that we can start with problems we have, that we got very fragmented infrastructure, which stopping the growth of the industry. We have had the state film studios, but it was demolished 10 years ago, and we still have no any new studio. Of course, we are working on it, but we think that the private investors very I think that they do not want to take risks, because the film industry, it's quite risky thing, of course, and without the support we cannot actually build our own film studios. So we need some instruments for that. And another thing that Liana have mentioned, that local EU funding instruments are not suitable for creative industries. The latest issue was that we got 2 film clusters in Lithuania. We are maybe a classical one, filming the classical cinemas, and another one is a multimedia cluster called Nebula. working with the new medias, with AR, VR, and with animation, with game industries. And we tried to develop the project with EU funding called Digital Innovation Hub, and it was Digital Media Innovation Hub created, and we started to prepare the application, but it's one of the reasons that we are not actually baited because of COVID, because of economic uncertainty, and our companies, as Liana mentioned, almost 80–90% of them stopped working, and of course they just were not sure about the future, and that's why we just didn't make it. And but we still actually believe that we can found this digital innovation hub, and we'll use maybe some EU funding instruments, but it would be better if these instruments would be shaped more for creative and cultural industries, not for the traditional ones, like where actually the IT sector actually gains the most. And another, maybe a little bit from another point, we have a lack of digital screens in the regions of our country. It is also the consequence of very fast, rapidly growing economy, and in the regions, all the cinemas built in the Soviet area were just sold and changed their activities, and of course, to build new cinemas in the regions, this is not very attractive for the investors, and that's why only half of our population can see the new cinemas in digital screens, which are concentrated mostly in the big cities. And another one, maybe it's from one point of view, it's positive. From another point of view, is negative. The growth of our industry is such rapid that we started to feel the shortage of the specialists for larger projects. The one of the biggest projects that happened 2 years ago when the HBO filmed the Chernobyl miniseries, the 70–80% of all industry specialists worked actually with this project, and you can imagine that all the other projects just stopped and waited for this big project to finish, and then continue their work. Of course, this issue is quite a big issue for us, and we need some measures, I guess, to teach, to educate the new specialists and to develop the big crews for the big projects. And I believe this is all. So thank you for your attention.
I would like to add, according to the cinemas, according to the screens, of course, we didn't digitize in the regions, but there is a new program that was announced by European Commission, the cinemas innovation hubs in local communities, and we actually, as a cluster, approached this program, and we got a kind of a high response, and we got good points. But I mean, the amount on the first call was only 2 million euros. You can imagine. I mean, competitiveness was very, very high. I think quite many applications, like 45 or something like that. So, and we give a try. So we still hope that somehow we can make it and digitize at least part of our screens in the region, to make also to help our industry also to screen films and to make the flow or blood circulation in our industry. So that's we are very happy for this new program, and we hope that somehow we can manage.
Thank you very much to both of you. We will continue the discussion shortly, okay, but now it's time to hear Genoveva Kristova, welcome. Where are you, Genoveva? Here?
Hello, yes.
Welcome.
Yes,
Long
very
time
nice to see you, Antonio, and everyone.
Okay,
Long
I
time.
am going to share my screen with your presentation, okay? I hope.
Please.
And please keep in mind the 10 minutes limit, because we are quite late today with everything that has been discussed. Here is it.
Oh, yes. I don't know about the others, but I can see it perfectly.
Yeah.
So hello, everyone. Can you see the slide? Can you see the first one?
Yeah.
Fine. So, lovely. So I'm Genoveva Kristova Murray, and I'm from Bulgaria. I've been in the clusters world since maybe 15 years, and I know Antonio very well. Last time Antonio in Bulgaria, 2-3 years ago during the TCI conference. So I'm very happy to see you all today, this morning, and to talk about creative industries, because we do believe, as our partners from Lithuania just spoke, that the creativity will save us, especially in these days, because if you are not creative, you cannot adapt. You cannot really face the challenges. So really being creative is one of the ways to manage in this unprecedented crisis. So I would like to give you 2 examples of Bulgaria. The first one is the one I think you know me mainly with, is the furniture cluster, interior design and furniture cluster. This is what we've been doing for about 15 years, doing contract furniture for all European markets. Contract furniture means hotels, and it's B2B business. So it's hotels, offices, all public spaces. So from the design and concept development A to C, to manufacturing and quality control, it's about 40 companies all around Bulgaria, and they've been specialized in what they are doing best. So can you show me the other side, Antonio? Thank you very much. So you can see all these projects. Yeah, all these projects. So we've been working for many hotels like Hilton, Marriott, Accor Group, Welcome Hotel, whatever, B&B, etc. So there are many, many projects. Usually we are doing about 200 hotels per year, and this is in the hospitality industry. And as you know, hospitality and tourism and the creative industry, they suffer most during this time. So just imagine all these hotels. Without really tourism and without international travelers, many, many projects just stopped, just because, I mean, they couldn't operate. And now they're facing the biggest challenges, how they can reopen in order for the tourists to feel safe, to feel comfortable, so they can enter their hotels again. So we are very happy that some of them, they started slowly. We just start working in London for one Western hotel, Marriott, about 220 rooms. But it's not the point of what I would like to share with you today. What I would like to share with you today is one of the solutions we've been working for. So the next slide, please. We are speaking about this new normal, the new in the businesses. So what we developed in these last 3 months is introducing the new normal in the hotel room. In other words, we need to introduce more digitalization, more technology in the hotel rooms, because you need to clean fast. If you see this room, this is our new concept room, there are not so many drawers. You can see the beds on the floor. So you clean easily because there is no dust under the bed frame. So everything is very clean, very open and minimalistic, because this is the way the hotel industry will work in the future. Just because we really need to keep safe our customers. So the next one. Thank you very much. You've been brilliant. One more. It's a nice one. Everybody wants to be there. One more. Thank you. So our plans for the future, as you see this key, it's like a hand, so it's like a key. You enter into the room and you opening any drawers you don't need to touch. So in this no-touch economy, you need to operate in the room without touching the surfaces, without touching the drawers, because everybody wants to open a minibar to have a drink, isn't it? So instead of touching, because you don't know who touched the minibar or the drawer, you can use this handle. So this is like a personal handle or personal key with integrated information inside. So you can open the room with, or you can switch the light in the room with, and you can operate in the room without touching furniture, because you need to be safe. Next one, please. One more. So this is the key. It's quite, it's quite smarty and kind of fancy key. So you operate with this handle, you don't touch, and you just use it as you like. Most important, it is a UV clean. So we introduced also this UV technology, ultraviolet technology everybody's talking about. So you can just disinfect the key in a special drawer where you keep your telephone, your watch, everything what is exposed, your keys, your wallet, in a special mini box within the bedside table. So for 10 minutes, you disinfect this personal handle with all your belongings in order to start operating tomorrow. So this technology now we are introducing in one of the hotels in Sofia, which is Sheraton, Hotel Balkan. So maybe, those who enter or who've been in my country know very well this hotel. And we are already introducing it, and it's been very well accepted by the public, by the audience. And we hope to really help our industry with this design solution just to reopen more safely and, of course, more affordable for all hotels. So we can all enjoy staying safe and not worrying about who's been in the room and what's happened in this room. Moreover, we also, one of our cluster members, produce just imagine a vacuum cleaner. But vacuum cleaner, you enter with this device, you clean for 10-15 minutes, clean about 450 square meters. It's also very good for the offices. With UVC, so this ultraviolet is working in the C spectrum, where it kills anything, any viruses and damages on the surfaces and in the air. So it's been introduced to the hospitals already in some of the most dangerous zones in Bulgaria, Sliven, Vidin, and some other cities. So we tried with our design thinking, to help hospitality industry, because it really suffers severely here. And I reckon for all the other countries from today's participants. But so this is one solution from a traditional industry, from the creative industries. But there is something else like a dessert. The next 5 slides, please, Antonio, because I was very curious to speak and to listen to my Lithuanian colleagues, because now I want to tell about the newest initiative from Bulgaria, because I'm actually running both initiatives. This is the traditional creative industry.
Sorry.
But now I'm gonna be I'm gonna get closer to you, yeah, and I'm gonna speak about the music industry, which is more related to the film and what you've been presenting. Can you open the other one, please?
Yeah, Genoveva, sorry. Perhaps you could put your video off, because we are not hearing you very well. No, Genoveva?
Yes. You cannot hear me well?
Yeah, no, not very well.
What about now?
We will see. We will see. Okay. Sorry, I am opening the other presentation. Okay. Now, the other presentation.
It's in the WeTransfer. But anyway, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, please go
Okay.
on.
I'll
I'm
move
having
that.
problems with the other presentation. Go on, please.
Okay, super. So what about now? I'll just try to move my position, so maybe you can hear me better. I don't know. So the other example I would like to really to present to you is connected to the music industry. And the music industry, when what I'm talking about is the project our creative cluster entered in, and it's the Eurovision 2020. By the way, we are fighting very strongly with Lithuanians. With Lithuanian participants. That's why you're laughing, Savanas. So Eurovision 2020. There it is. So this is the creative cluster we established in. Thank you very much, Antonio. You're brilliant. So this is, I said that there is the cherry of the today meeting. So Eurovision is a perfect example of a project where you combine a lot from the creative industry. You combine music, songwriting, composers, you combine visuals because you also have videos and you need to present the artist in the best possible way. You have photography, you have styling, you have staging. So there's so many parts from the creative industry. So we set up one of the newest cluster is the Creative Cluster Bulgaria, which entered into the music industry, and we managed to return back Bulgaria into the contest. And it is the biggest non-sporting event in the world. 200 million people were easy watching over. And we were very happy because our public broadcasters suffer to enter into the Eurovision. So we helped our creative companies to go back and to present the country because Bulgaria was one of the few who was missing. So we supported our artist, Victoria. And what happened? We released the product, we released the song, and the event was cancelled. And that I can assure you that cost a lot of money because it's and I think everybody who is in the creative industry know what I'm talking about. So can you show me the other one, please? So cancel, no audience, no concerts, no revenues. So what we start doing in the event of when the event is canceled, we immediately jumped into the online concerts, and we were one of the first ones to make an online concert very well accepted. We started to do songwriting sessions remotely from distance, and because I think very, very important, as I'm sure all of you agree with me, in this time you need to think positively. So instead of saying, oh my God, it's canceled, all our efforts and everything is just, it's a drama, it's collapse. We started thinking positively, fine. So instead of 3 months or 5 months, we've got 1 more year of exposure because together with our public broadcaster and many of our contestants, they have confirmed their participation in next year, 2021, when the event will be relaunched again, fingers crossed. So you have 1 year and more for exposure of the artist. So what can you do to do it really properly and to maximize the effect instead of just giving back or giving up or just saying, okay, it's canceled. So we started recording, we started doing more songwriting sessions, even more exposure to the public with our audio, visuals, photography, and all components of the of the music industry. So exclusive interviews for social medias, etc. Now we are starting with one of the California companies were really interested in what we are doing. So we started our paid live sessions every week, which means that the exposure is really been working instead of just doing, I said, nothing. So this is one of the solutions we're already done. As the very interesting solution the Lithuania just presented with the cinema and watching from cars and enjoying, with this big screen. So because you need to be innovative and you need to adapt, and there are so many ways you can use if you think instead of just complaining or just being upset. The next one, there are 2 more, and I'm finishing. So this is one of the campaign results. We were very proud that we were, as I said, one among the among of the ones to win the Eurovision this time. And Lithuania was very strong competitor, and also the Iceland. So I think these three countries we suffer most, and we need to compete next year. So there are so many, over 1,300 interviews, etc. So Victoria now, from being not so known in Bulgaria, now she is very well known in Europe, and we need to capitalize and to maximize the effect of this. And the last slide, we've been on MTV Channel, as I said, we've been now in many viral charts, and this is really the way we want to bring the music industry with no gigs, nothing from the artist, because there is no concerts and no possibility for tours, but you need to go digital, because via digital you can stream everywhere. And as we all discussing this morning, today the world is very digital. You don't watch TV, you watch Netflix or HBO. You don't watch, you don't listen to the CDs. You just listen to Spotify, and you choose the music you want to listen. So in this digital world, you can be global and you can stream everywhere if you have the right strategy and the right approach. So the last slide. Yeah. So our plans for the future. Just listen. No. So we are having a new single in June, 24th of June. So I will be happy if you hear the next song, which is called All Right. Everything is gonna be all right. This is the name of the song. Don't worry, everything is gonna be all right. We will be fine. So this is the very positive message we are doing, and 24th of June is the release. And of course, we are preparing for Eurovision 2021, and you will see what we will be doing next year. So thank you very much for your attention. And thank you very much for the brilliant moderation and the slide changer, Antonio. I appreciate it.
No moderation at all. You are lying, but thank you, Genoveva. Okay, so thank you very much. Yes, we are invest a lot of time with your speeches. So that means that we only have 10 minutes for the global discussion. So go ahead. Who is the first making some comments or questions about what we have heard? No comment, no question. I will give you some. We have been speaking about solutions, okay? But for me, it's not so clear what are the disruptions, the current disruption that you are suffering, because one of the main purpose of these meetings is to find solutions, to identify disruption and propose solutions, okay? So my first question is, concretely, just because we need to be very, very concrete. What are the current disruptions that you are suffering, and how can we help to solve them? Liana, or Romanas, or Genoveva? Who is the first?
Actually, one disruption I can mention, the new one, and it's caused actually by COVID issues, that the insurance companies suffered such a big losses while lots of projects were stopped or closed, and the cinema project and the whole industry is quite expensive. And as you know, that the usual movie actually costs a lot to make, to produce it, and it can start with 500,000 and finish with 200 million, as Hollywood declares. And of course, all these investments cannot be made actually without the insurance, that the business insurance. And now the projects cannot actually get the insurance, because if some actor or some crew member arrives in Vilnius and joins the crew, and if some negative stuff happens, and he actually gets this virus. So the whole crew should stop for 2 weeks, and nobody actually nobody can finance it without insurance. And of course, insurance companies are now don't want to take risks. And I think that this is the new normal, as Genoveva said, that we are facing this issue, and we know that we are not the only industry actually facing this issue. And some big countries like Germany and then France, as we know, they are founding government state insurance funds, especially for these issues to cover. But in the small countries like Lithuania, we actually do not expect it because it's not an mostly important industry for Lithuania, and that's why maybe it could be a pan-European measures to announce some aid, some help on this matter.
Thank you very much. Liana, we are not hearing you. Sorry, Liana. No, we are not hearing you. We lost your voice.
Now you hear me.
We are
So
hearing
I don't think so, because I switched the device, that's why. So it was some technical disturbance, but I heard my colleague Romanas telling this, because we are here to discuss what on EU level can be done, to help the industry. So that's what we also discussed yesterday with Romana, that this is the main thing that we want to point it out. The other help aid measures should be actually created locally in Lithuania. That's what we are doing, actually in a very tight contact with the ministries, and helping them to solve the problem for us. I mean, helping them to help us in short term. So I have nothing to add by now, but maybe I will generate something later on.
Don't doubt to send some suggestion to us, please, Diana. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Any other comment from the audience, from the attendants?
Yes, I wanted to ask, Lena, you were mentioning that you are working on these measures with the government, and what kind of measures are you talking about there? Is it more about funding? Is it more about training? You mentioned that there are specialists that needed at some point. What kind of directions do these measures go?
Yeah, there are two directions. We also divided the kind of ongoing challenges that cluster members meet with the lack of professional trainings and things like that. Infrastructure that we mentioned, and all EU measures that are not designed really for creative industries. I mean, this is the one direction. The other direction is towards the disruptions caused by COVID. And now we are working on this particular problem because even local supportive schemes or aid programs were designed thinking about traditional industries. They forgot to think about creative industries. That's why, I mean, we started to raise up our voices and to discuss openly, publicly. And now we went into dialogue with ministries and then helping them to create packages. Let's say we actually offered some even new programs, or let's say schemes for supporting industries to get the better flow, and then let's say encourage them for innovations. So-called Innovisual is like one of the supported program. Another one is a Creative Check. So these are kind of first programs that we proposed for the Ministry of Economics and Innovation to include in the package of all other programs that are partly supported by EU funds, but administrated by the Ministry of Economics and Innovation, and many others. I mean, we went through all means that been presented by the government, and we pointed out what doesn't work for us in each, let's say, program or each scheme. Why the creative industries cannot use this support or aid program. So it's a kind of, I can talk very long about this, but I mean, basically there is a big package that we went through and pointed out what can be changed, that the creative industry can use these means, and also offered new programs, new created packages, and that was very well received by the ministries, and now we are kind of on the discussion table by me.
If you want to send us a summary in English of the, or we could even try to translate to us, we could look for how to use that reflection at the European level. Thank you. More comments, more questions, or other experiences from other countries.
Yes, I would like to add a comment. Can you hear me well?
Yes, Robin.
Yes. Hello. So my name is Robin. I work for Tectera, which is the French textile cluster for innovation and competitiveness. And we have application both in traditional sectors such as automotive, transport, construction, but also, of course, in creative industries, especially fashion and decoration. And the main disruption that we observed so far was a temporary shortage of demand, because the shops are closed, because as someone previously said, the hotels are closed. So the end users of our products do not have currently the means to continue their production, which means that a lot of textile companies have had to partially or totally shut down their production for the past couple of months. So there has been already some positive answers to that. So first the government support, and then the agility of the sector to answer the new demands. So we established a context for the production of protective equipment made of textiles, such as more especially masks, but also gowns for hospitals, but mainly masks for the general public. So for this, we as a cluster and the other French cluster, which is located in the north of France, we have worked with the government, with the ministries of armies, healthcare, and work, in order to establish a structure for testing the mask and be sure to have something that is efficient, because a lot of companies that have been producing these masks since the establishment of this collaboration, they come from the fashion industry, but they do not come from, for example, the protective equipment industry. And the norms, the way of manufacturing the product, of testing the product, is completely different. So we had to do a lot of training. We had to link a lot of people together in order for everyone to be able to provide a rightful answer. And to give you one number, we now have almost 50 companies in the region, which counts about 200 companies. We have almost 50 companies that have been producing masks. So for them, it's an entirely new sort of products that comes to complete what they usually use to produce. The problem is that it's something that is not going to last. So that brings me to what we are doing in order to prepare the future of the companies. So the first thing would be to find a way to make this newly established production chains durable, in order to secure it, to be something for these companies to rely on the future. We are also preparing new innovation projects and the follow-up of the current innovation and collaborative projects, especially the one that involved an answer to COVID-19. But we stayed focused on preparing the ground for companies to keep on innovating in the next month. So we are looking for innovation topics for in new materials, in new production systems. Also, projects in industry relocation. It's an important subject now for many, especially industrial industries in Europe. But for the textile, it could be an opportunity to find a way to relocate part of the production. Also, something that is very impacted now in the purely creative part of textile, and more especially fashion and decoration, is the system of seasons that really gives the rhythm to the textile production. So each year has 2 seasons: autumn, winter, and spring, summer. And while having this pandemic at this moment, it means that it makes it really harder to prepare the next season. Currently, we should be preparing the spring summer season for 2022, so in two years. But we are still discussing how we should do it, and there are even discussions about completely letting go this system, at least for a while, and find a new way to pace the creativity in the textile industry, and to create something entirely new to answer the consumers' demands. So it's also a very interesting time, because it means that companies need to innovate in their business model, and also in their production processes. But the main problem that we have now is that because of the lack of demand, the incomes and the cash flow are not as steady as they used to be, and these companies in the fashion industry are often very fragile when it comes to cash flow. So one of our main goals is to secure the cash flow that they have at the moment, and to be sure that they will be able to go back to their business with adaptation as soon as possible in the next couple of months. So yeah, I think just very, very quickly, that's about it for us.
Excellent, Robin. Thank you very much for sharing. Textera are one of the best examples that I know from what cluster are doing in Europe and helping on this fight. And so I need to really, really congratulate your cluster for what you are doing.
Well, thank you very much.
No, it's totally true. You know that. Okay, we need to dedicate you some specific session. Congratulations. But
well,
we'll
gladly.
Then we can also, Lithuania can share some examples, because what happened in Lithuania, lots of temporary so-called clusters been created during this COVID-19 times. Exactly the same way. I mean, audiovisual sector, let's say TV productions, they collaborated with the designers and companies that usually they produce textile products, and also logistic companies. They gathered together also to produce big amounts of masks and gloves and things like that for the hospitals. I mean, like 5 or 6 sectors, they closely collaborated, and the flow of let's say cash flow and also products been circulating in this very high speed, much faster than the government did their input actually to help the situation. And it's fantastic. We can definitely separately talk about all these temporary clusters that has been created during these 2 or 3 months. So I just wanted to add to this brilliant example of a French cluster.
Yeah, Diana, you are totally right. we are speaking about that the new concept of cluster as linkages between different ecosystem and the most agile way to answer those needs.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. Okay, we should close. Any last?
Antonio, sorry, Antonio. Francisco Vigalondo speaking.
Hello.
Hello, hello everybody. It's me because I was late in this meeting. I used to lead comment is about 3 regions: Western Greece, Tuscany, and Aragon. I am representative of Aragon State in Brussels, and it's used to announce that these 3 regions are preparing a new thematic area in the frame of the smart specialization platform. I don't know if people is familiar with this. It's in the frame of the smart specialization strategies for the regions. And in this platform, there are many thematic areas, most of them related to the industrial modernization. And in this moment, in this platform, there are more than 20 thematic areas, I think. And this will be a new thematic area devoted to creative and cultural ecosystems, regional ecosystems. So it's just to know that maybe in few weeks, if you want, you can find information about this new thematic area. But for our part, we'll be very interested to receive expression of interest from clusters to join this thematic area. You know, Antonio, I can send you information about, and you can distribute in your organization.
For sure, but please.
That's all. Thank you, Antonio.
Francisco, if you want, you could share your email or the contact email in the chat, okay? Whatever, but I can share the information. Thank you, and we could also organize a presentation. Why not? Of that initiatives. So thank you.
Antonio, I'd just like to say that the same that happened. Sorry.
Now is.
Sorry, Francisco, we are not hearing you.
I heard you very badly. Now is better?
Try, please. You have problems with the connection.
It's
sorry,
okay
Francisco.
now. Can you hear me?
I think so.
No, I think my connection is.
So.
Hello?
Try later if you want, Francisco.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, I try later. Sorry.
Thank you. Aurora, sorry. Sorry for the
I was just going to say that the same that happened with the Eurovision festival, COVID has been at least postponing, but sometimes also canceling lots of cultural events. As you know, in Portugal, there are a lot because of the good weather, and not only. And the people that work around this business, like technical people for sound, for lights, hotels, restaurants, taxis, everything that work around these large events have been stopped, have been not aware of having their income. So it's really a disruption. And even those events that have been postponed, they're not now. So people are really facing difficulties. That's all. Thank you. I don't know much more.
No, thank you.
Unless my choir, because my choir stopped also.
No, thank you, Aurora. Theodora, I think that you wanted to speak. Theodora?
Yes, yes, good morning. I wanted to add exactly about something what was just said, that the creative industry is one of the industries that gathers many freelancers. And obviously with the industries being totally stop of operation, I mean, it's normal run of operation. Obviously, these people, they all left without the incomes and not being presented by companies or clusters. I mean, because we are talking how the clusters are sorting the problems. We are talking with the ministries and trying to find some funds. But I think would be very useful to create some good examples on a national basis how the countries help the freelancers basically with some financial aid, because I've been talking to many artists from different countries, and I know that they really suffer because they're not used to be presented by a certain company or association, and for them to find the help, it's really tough thing. Especially in this situation that they are creative people. They are not people who know about how to apply for a project or to find from where some funds. So I think we could help a lot if we give some examples on a national basis how basically freelancers being helped in the creative industries.
Actually, Lithuania, I would comment. Actually, Lithuania did quite a lot for creative industries.
Hola, he conseguido entrar.
Francisco,
when it comes, okay, when it comes to arts and creative industries, I mean, they've been, I mean, presented lots of packages by the Minister of Culture through the Arts Council. I mean, the extra 16.5 million, it's kind of in double budget for the Arts Council to deliver like scholarships for any kind of artist. I mean, whatever it is, designer or architect or musician or whatever. And every 2 weeks almost, the announcement comes from Arts Council how many people have been financially supported for this particular period. And then, but what we talked about long-term program that helps the industries to get back to their regular life and accelerate their operations or services or whatever it is. So cultural industries, they got quite well, a good package of governmental aid both on the Arts Council, directly from the Ministry of Culture, and also through the projects. So they can apply for quite a huge money. I mean, 10 million euros been put as an extra budget for the Arts Council, just for calls from different organizations, freelancers, even simple individuals, to bring their artistic products into kind of online services to reach the audience in different ways, or to be prepared if there will be a second wave or any other catastrophe comes up, so that they start to use a different way of reaching their audiences or their product users or whatever. So the project-based aid is more connected to push them to be more creative, more innovative, and the other direction is to kind of temporary help to survive them. We are talking about exactly freelancers. All our artists of any kind, musicians or theater people or even cinema people, they are freelancers, and they have a right to apply for this temporary money, and it's quite okay. I mean, budget. So it's my comment.
Yes, Paneuropean.
So Liana, thank you very much for sharing this. And I have a proposal. Can we all share what kind of state aid or any kind of measures the state is given to the cultural and the creative industries? Because I think it's very useful. Because unfortunately in Bulgaria the situation is not exactly as in Lithuania. So we were very lucky. So congratulations. So we can use these examples just also to go and to show to our government, you know, let's face it. I mean, we are suffering. This is what our colleagues are doing. Can we get something similar? So if we combine efforts and just everybody share what kind of support, you know, is available, we can be stronger. And by the way, we're invited to a Vilnius festival in September. So I would like to meet you. We are going in the beginning of September. I hope it's gonna be, you know, performed.
Brilliant idea. I mean, to share our experiences, that would be a great idea. So definitely, everyone, doesn't matter how we are doing. I mean, we still can get better. So we can improve our systems and well, point at each other and then help each other actually to survive.
You probably know, but for your information, if you don't know, we are under a contract with the European Commission just to study the different ecosystems, and we are promoting the creation of some specific expert groups. We call them nodes. So you will be invited to participate if you want. And inside this expert group, we could make this compilation of references. So thank you for the ideas. Francisco, very shortly, because we should have closed some time ago. Francisco, can you speak now? Your mic is off. No? Anyway, you will have new opportunities. Okay, thank you very much. And I am very glad to have seen you. I have very fond memories from our meeting in Lithuania, Liana.
I miss you all.
It was,
come back to Lithuania.
It was
now
wonderful.
We open up the borders, so almost all the European countries can come. So we are definitely waiting for you to come back.
And
it
also
was a really great experience to meet all of you. So I'm really happy and proud that we did it in Lithuania, actually.
Yeah, you should be. And also, Genoveva, I hope to have the opportunities to see you there also, Sofia. So thank you very much, everybody. We will continue working on that. It's very important what we are doing. We have the opportunity to join forces and make the right statements to the right people, okay, at the European level. So we continue working on it. See you. Bye. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.